Dear Diploma CET aspirants, in this video we'll be seeing network communication standards. There are two important network communication standards. First one is Open System Interconnect Reference Model. One more is TCP/IP Reference Model. Open System Interface Interconnect Reference Model is called ISO/OSI Reference Model. ISO stands for International Standard Organization. OSI stands for Open System Interconnect Reference Model. First we'll see the important reference model, OSI reference model. For configuring, for designing any network, the network engineer has to follow some models. The ISO has standardized some models. That model is OSI reference model. This OSI reference model will help us to design and configure and implement the computer networks for communication. Assume any sender wants to send any data to the receiver. It has to pass through some stages. So the computer engineers, network engineers, they have simplified these things with the help of layered architecture. This layered architecture will show us how the data will flow from one system to the another system. This OSI reference model will have 7 layers. First layer is physical layer, second is data link layer, third one is network layer, fourth one is transport layer, fifth one is session layer, sixth one is presentation layer, and last 7th layer is application layer. In some books he says first layer is application layer and last layer is physical layer. But for configuring any network, for network engineer, he considers the physical layer is the first layer. If any host or any system wants to send any data to the other system, the data will flow from application layer at the sender side. It goes to the presentation layer, it goes to the session layer, then it moves to the transport layer, then it passes through the network layer, then data link layer, then finally physical layer at the sender side. Through the help of some medium like wired medium or wireless medium, guided or unguided media, the data will flow to the destination system or receiver. At receiver side, the data will be received first at the physical layer, then it will move to the next level data link layer, then network layer, then transport layer, then session layer, then presentation, and finally the data will be represented in application layer as the sender has sent at the sender side. For understanding this OSI reference model, we need to understand what are the protocols we use in each layer. Some layers don't use the protocol, some layers use the protocols. We need to understand what are the different layers we use in different protocols we use in different layers, and what are the functionalities or responsibilities of each layer. Then what are the different networking components we use in each layer, and what type of data the data will move from one layer to the another layer. That we call it as representation of data or form of data flowing from one layer to the another layer. If you understand these concepts, then it is very easy. OSI reference model becomes very easy. One important thing is at least 3 to 4 questions you'll get if you understand this OSI reference model. Now, as I said, the data will flow from application layer to the physical layer at the sender side, and it goes from physical layer to the application layer at the receiver side. Now we'll start with first physical layer. We'll start with first with the physical layer. Physical layer always deals with the medium. Medium means the communication channel. The communication channel can be your wired communication or wireless media, or we also call it as guided media or unguided media. Guided media means there is a physical existence of your wire. Example for guided media are your coaxial cables, where twisted pair cables, or your optical fiber cables. For unguided media, we can use your wireless communication or wireless data communication. This physical layer deals with the media, which type of media the sender is using, and at the receiver side, through this media the receiver is going to receive the message. Next is what type of data, in which form the data will flow from sender to the receiver is in terms of bits. That bits are, we say that, zeros and ones. Physical layers, physical layer physical layer physical layer is responsible for movement of individual bits from one hop to the next hop. You just remember, hop is nothing but the data which is moving from one node to the another node. When sender wants to send some message to the receiver, the data will not directly reach to the destination system. It has to pass through some intermediate systems. When data is moving from one node to the another node, that we call it as a one hop. One hop. Here, this physical layer is only concerned with how the data will flow from one node to the neighboring node, or one system to its neighboring node. How the data, whether it is moving in through the physical media, or whether it is moving through the wireless media. We usually use data in the form of zeros and ones. One more thing with this physical layer is that before sending any data to the receiver over a communication media, the data has to be encoded. The data has to be encoded so that there should not be any hacking of the data in between sender and the receiver. We use different encoding methods, and one more thing, functionality of physical layer is synchronization. Synchronization is very important because when we are sending the data as stream of bits, zeros and ones, there should be a synchronization of these bits while traveling from sender to the receiver. If any mismatch happens, there is a wrong information can be delivered to the receiver. So for that, the sender and receiver has to synchronize the stream of bits while transmitting. Next is data rate is also important. Data rate, normally we call it as a bandwidth. The number of bits per second, the number of bits transmitted per second, we call it as a bandwidth. It is decided by the physical layer, how fast, how speed the sender is sending data to the receiver. That is decided by the physical layer. And this physical layer also allow us to what type of topology we can have for our computer network. Normally topology is nothing but it is the arrangement of computer systems within a network. We have different types of topologies: star topology, ring topology, bus topology, mesh topology, and hybrid topology. These will be seeing the next videos. Next is the physical layer can emphasize the mode of transmission. The transmission or communication can be simplex, half duplex, or full duplex. Simplex means the sender is sending the data to the receiver in one-way communication. The receiver won't reply back for the sender. Such type of transmission mode we call it as a simplex mode. In half duplex, the sender is sending the data to the receiver. Receiver is also sending data to the sender, but not at the same time. In full duplex, sender is also sending data to the receiver. Receiver is also sending data to the sender at same time. Example for simplex is your radio transmission, radio broadcasting. Radio keeps transmitting data, but we are just listening at the receiver side. We are not replying for radio transmission. For half duplex example is your walkie talkie. You might be seen some traffic police used to use the walkie talkie. They use that walkie talkie for two-way communication, but not at the same time. Every communication they used to tell, say over something. Now in next, in full duplex, communication happens at same time from both receiver as well as sender. Example for your mobile communication. Mobile communication, the receiver and sender can talk at same time. Next layer is data link layer. Main responsibility of data link layer is moving frames from one hop to the next hop. It allows us to forward our data from one node to the another node. Here the concept, the representation of data will be in the form of frames. The data unit in data link layer we call it as a frames. Transferring of such frames are called framing. This data link layer mainly deals with the physical addressing. There are different types of addressing concept: physical addressing and logical addressing. This data link layer only deals with the physical addressing. Physical address is of every system is identified based on two addresses. One is physical address, one more is logical address. Physical address always be fixed, and the physical address size is 48 bits. And the logical address is, it can be changed. It can be 32 bit, or it can be 64, or it can be 128. That logical address is supported by our network layer, but our data link layer only supports the physical addressing. Next functionality of data link layer is flow control. Flow control is nothing but if any sender wants to send the data in high speed, the receiver is able to receive the data in the same speed. Otherwise, there is a chance of packet drop at the intermediate node. If sender is too fast, receiver is too slow, that is also problem. Then if sender is too slow and receiver is too fast, then that is also problem. To overcome this problem, we use some flow control mechanism or flow controlling techniques in our computer networking concept. Next important functionality of data link layer is error control. For any communication, there are two types of communication. One is two types of communication: connectionless service and connection oriented service. In connectionless services, you know that in earlier videos we have seen, for connection oriented service there is a high reliability of communication. For connectionless service there is a less reliable service. We also call it as an unreliable service. For unreliable service, we need to provide maximum reliability for any computer network. If any error occurs during transmission, we need to handle that error through some error handling mechanism. Best example for your error handling is your CRC. CRC stands for cyclic redundancy check. Next, one more functionality of data link layer is access control. If two or more hosts or nodes or systems are trying to access the same resource or same link, then that is controlled by the data link layer. Next layer is network layer. Network layer is the most important layer in our OSI reference model. Its main responsibility of network layer is delivery of individual packet from source host to the destination host. Sometimes they ask the question related to network layer is network layer provides the dash dash delivery. It is end to end delivery. End to end delivery is supported by our network layer. End to end delivery means when sender is sending any data, it only knows the receiver logical address. It directly transfer its receiver's logic address, so we call it as a end-to-end delivery. In data link layer, we use the concept called physical address. Usually physical addresses are of 48 bits. Now in network layer, we use the concept called logical addresses. Logical addresses are of again different versions. We have logical addresses. We have standard logical address as IPv4 and IPv6. IPv4 is of 32 bit and IPv6 is of 128 bit. This question, one question will come from addressing. I'll make one more video for addressing. It has separate video for computer network addressing. You just remember that network layer supports logical address, data link layer supports the physical addressing. Next, what form of data is flowing in network layer is in terms of packet. Packets are nothing but it is the chunk of information. While sending the data will come from our transport layer to the network layer and it will move to the data link layer. At receiver side, the data will come from data link layer to network layer, then it will move to the transport layer. When at sender side, when it is coming from transport layer, in transport layer data we call it as a segment or datagram. Those will be broken down into number of packets at network layer. Then again when it is moving to the data link layer, those packets will be again divided into small number of chunks. Those are called frames. At receiver side, the data link layer supports the frames. Those will be reassembled at the network layer. Those are called packet. Again those packets will be again reassembled at the data link layer, transport layer. Those are called segments or datagrams. The most important functionality of network layer is routing. Through the help of some routers, that devices, our network layer is identify the shortest path to reach the destination system. The system, while sending any data from sender to the receiver, the sender can have a number of paths, but it has to find the optimal path to transfer the data. Through the help of some routing algorithm, through the help of routing router, the sender is able to send that packet to the receiver in with the shortest path. Next, in network layer also we use the concept called end-to-end delivery. End-to-end delivery, when sender sends the data to the receiver, the packet will be sent based on the logical address specified in packet within the packet that directly reaches to the receiving system. Next, we use some protocols here in transport layer. Most important protocols are IP. IP stands for Internet Protocol. then we use ARP protocol, then we use RARP protocol, then ICMP, then IGMP protocols. Now these they may ask the long form of these protocols, or they may ask the functionality. Main concept behind ARP and RARP will be studying in next video what exactly meaning of ARP and RARP in our network layer. Next is transport layer. Transport layer functionality is delivery of a message from one process to the another process. Here individual system you have identified based on the physical address in data link layer, and you have identified based on logical address in your network layer. When any message sent from one system to the another system, it has to identify the particular system either based on the logical address or physical address. If I know the logical address, if I don't know the physical address, if I know the physical address, if I don't know the logical address, that time we use the concept called ARP and RARP protocol. Within a system, within a network, within a system, each process is identified based on its process ID. Each process is identified by its process ID. But when packet is moving from one system to the another system over a internet, it has to identify it based on some different number. Those are called port numbers. Port numbers we will be studying in next concept. Here in transport layer, it provides the service point addressing. Service point addressing nothing but we use the concept called port address. Here port are the nothing but the number given to particular process coming outside the computer system. Within the computer system, the processes are identified based on the process ID. But if any message or process coming outside the computer system, those are identified by port number. There are three types of port numbers we usually have: well-known port number, registered port number, then ephemeral port number. You remember well-known port number is start from 0 to 1023, and registered port number has the number limit from 1024 to 49151, that is 49,151. Then last category of port number is ephemeral port number. Ephemeral port number has the range 49152 to 65535, that is 49,152 to 65,535. Now the addressing scheme is with the help of port number in your transport layer. The what type of data the data is moving from this transport layer is, we call it as a segment or datagram. Here the one more functionality of transport layer is segmentation. Segmentation is nothing but dividing our whole information into small number of chunks or small number of data units. Those are called segments. That process we call it as a segmentation. At a receiver side, again we need to recombine these data at the transport layer. That process we call it as a reassembling of segments. And we know that when sender sends particular message, it has some identification, that port number at the sender side. At receiver side also it identifies its port number. This type of communication we call it as a process to process delivery of any packet or segment. This transport layer also provides error control, This error control is only related to process, not the end to end. If any errors are there, then this transport layer is going to handle those. In data link layer, those error handling done at the end to end. Flow control error handling is done at the process to process, but flow control is done in end to end manner. Some protocol we use in transport layer are three important protocol we use. First one is UDP, second TCP, then SCTP. UDP stands for User Datagram Protocol. TCP stands for Transmission Control Protocol. They may ask sometime they may ask the long form of this protocol. You know that this UDP, TCP, SCTP works purely in transport layer. SCTP stands for Stream Control Transmission Protocol. Next layer is session layer. Session layer has the responsibility of dialog control and synchronization. Dialog control uh, dialog control is nothing but if two or more communication systems want to start communicating each other, there should be agreement between them, and each system has to initiate the communication. That concept it is done it is managed by our session layer. Next is synchronization. Here synchronization is very important concept with respect to session layer. Why? Because this synchronization using the concept called checkpoints or sync points. Sync points are checkpoints. When sender is wants to send the packets, assume that there are 1000 packets. 1000 packet, it has transmitted 600 packets already, and 601 packet has some errors. Some error that time, if we don't have the checkpoints, the sender has to send the whole data again from first packet to 1000 packet. Instead of doing that one, what we have, for every 100th packet we will be having checkpoints or sync points. Instead of retransmitting the whole packet, we are transmitting, suppose the error is at 620th packet, we are only retransmitting only 20 packet instead of 620 packets. For that reason we use the checkpoints in our session layer. This session layer also performs the token management in your token ring network. It also uses the concept half duplex, full duplex, and simplex communication. The last layer is last but one layer is presentation layer. It is the responsibility of translation, compression, and encryption. Translation is nothing but, suppose sender is using some different formatting method, text formatting method, and receiver is using some different text formatting method. So here sender has to translate the data what it is sending to the in a readable form, receiver readable form, or it is, if any sender and receiver agreed for common form of data, in that form the presentation layer is going to translate that data. This also deals with the encryption decryption technique. Why use encryption is, some data in our internet are very sensitive. Those data has to be encrypted in a unreadable form, so that the receiver and sender only knows the actual information. While transmitting, anybody can hack our data. To avoid that problem, the sender is going to encrypt the data at the sender side, and receiver is going to decrypt the data at the receiver side to get the original information. This is done at the presentation layer. Then if the data is too large while sending, the large data cannot be moved so fastly, transmitted so fastly to the receiver. So sender has to compress that data and send to the over a communication media, so that the speed of the network will be too high. This presentation layer also deals with syntax and semantics of your data, how we represent the data with respect to syntax and semantics. The last layer is application layer. Application layer provides services to the user. Usually when data comes at receiver side, the data has to be represented in some manner, in some applications. Suppose if I got any mail, I am going to use the email interface or email application to see my data. If I get any video, or if I got any chat messages, there should be an interface, there should be an application to show that data to the user. That is done by the our application layer. Normally in application layer there is a file transfer mechanism is there, and mail services are there. We also use the directory services. Directory services are nothing but DBMS databases and our web pages. How do you represent this databases and how do you represent web pages are done by the application layer. Some of the protocols we use in our application layer, these may also work in your presentation session layer also. The first protocol is HTTP protocol. Next is FTP, DNS, SMNP, Telnet and SNMP. HTTP stands for Hypertext Transmission Protocol. Hypertext Transmission Protocol. Second one is File Transfer Protocol. Domain Name Systems, Simple Mail, SNM, Simple Network Management Protocol. Then Simple Mail Network Protocol. Okay. Next is, I did not explain any devices which was under your OSI reference model. If you remember this diagram, at least you will get one question fixed, sure. What are the different devices was under different layers? There are different networking devices. Those are passive hub, active hub, repeater, router, bridge, gateway. You need to remember, active hub does not work any of the OSI reference model. It works below the physical layer. Sorry, passive hub does not work any of the OSI reference model. It works below the physical layer. Repeater or active hub only works in your physical layer. Bridge or two-layer switch only works in your data link layer and physical layer. And a router or three-layer switch. Router is also called three-layer switch. This router only works in network layer, data link layer, physical layer. Mostly works in this router works mostly in network layer. And gateway, it works all the layers of OSI reference model. For every year question paper, one of the question comes from this type of concept. Gateway works in which layer, router works in which layer. That type of question will get. If you remember this diagram, this figure, you can usually attempt the question. Next reference model is TCP IP reference model. TCP IP stands for Transmission Control and Internet Protocol Reference Model. The layer The thing is, OSI reference model is of 7 layer, but TCP/IP reference model is only 4 layer. Some layers are missing in our TCP/IP reference model, or the layers in OSI reference model are replaced with some layers in TCP/IP reference model. The functionality, all functionality remains same. Only you think to remember is how many layers in TCP/IP reference model and what is the application layer covers in your OSI reference model. Application layer in your TCP/IP reference model covers the layers of OSI reference model are application layer, presentation and session layer. And transport layer is same as in OSI as well as TCP/IP reference model. Here network layer in OSI is renamed as internet layer in your TCP/IP, and physical layer is missing. That physical layer and data link layer are combined and made it as a link layer in your TCP/IP protocol. So we have total 4 layers in your, layers in your TCP/IP: application layer, transport layer, internet layer, link layer. Thank you.